All of these athletes, those we mentioned and many, many others, are not necessarily any dumber than the rest of the population. I want that to be very clear. As a former college athlete, I do take a little bit of offense with the way athletes are treated a lot of the times.
Likewise.
I'm not sure why so many people that appear, like on the surface appear as if they love and want to protect and want to support and want what's best for college athletes, also, whether consciously or subconsciously, treat them as if they're dumb, naive, and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that they're, as mature as they're going to be at 20 years old or 21 or whatever, than 19 years old, but they are at least as mature, as smart, as street smart, as capable as other 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds that are walking around on the same campus they are that don't play sports. That's my point, right? I'm not saying they're all 40 years old and they have an exact idea of making sure they diversify their portfolios with low-risk bonds or whatever the heck you do once you know what you're talking about on the financial markets. I'm just saying, I'm saying this. The Senate is getting involved in name, image, and likeness now.
Mm-hmm.
Senators, like the Senate.
The people that were elected to be there.
Yeah.
Elected officials.
This is not, local government. This is national. In the Senate, Democrats Cory Booker of New Jersey and Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut have been joined by Republican Jerry Moran of Kansas. That makes it a bipartisan bill. In crafting a discussion draft of a bill that they believe will reform college athletics and prioritize athletes' health, education, and economic rights. Now, let me be the first to tell you, most of what I know about how bills are passed comes from Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill. No, I'm only, like, that's,
yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm going at.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
However, what I will say is I read an entire breakdown of what this proposed bill will do for name, image, and likeness, and I don't like it. And I don't like it because I have never seen a bill like this for musicians. I've never seen a bill like this for science grants. I've never seen a bill like this for people that create apps when they're in college. No one, when Zuckerberg was drawing up algorithms on his Harvard window, was saying, now, if he actually has an opportunity to make any money with this, we're going to have to set up a whole coalition to make sure he doesn't spend it poorly. Because they just said, oh, look at that. We got a smart guy drawing algorithms on the wall. That's a completely different situation, despite the fact that everyone in the both sides of the story are the same age and they're all college students. The proposed bill would establish College Athletics Corporation, which basically would oversee everything NIL. They'd make the rules, they'd enforce the rules, they'd handle oversight. It would establish a medical trust fund and cover injured athletes' out-of-pocket costs. Schools and the medical trust fund would cover the out-of-pocket expenses for injuries and other long-term conditions resulting from athletes' participation in sports. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need, like, the Senate to do that. I think schools should do that, but if they need to be forced, boo on them. But here's where it gets a little crazy, right? Athletes would be required to take financial literacy and lifestyle development courses where they would be taught personal budgeting, debt, credit, interest rates, contracts, tax liability, and other issues relating to their endorsements and income. Now listen, I subscribe to the theory that, like, high schools should, there should be less emphasis on the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right?
Yes.
I say Pythagorean.
Pythagorean.
There you go.
There it is.
That one, the theorem, Pythagorean theorem, because it sounds fancy, but I don't think I've ever actually used it in my real life existence, like in my professional life or in handling my duties at home or any kind of stuff like that. So maybe there should be some type of high school or college class requirement where you have to learn about paying taxes and financial literacy and what's a debit, what's a credit, what's a liability, what's an asset, all those sorts of things. I'm fine with that. I don't like saying only athletes have to learn it. Because I'm going, why do you trust everyone else to figure it out on their own?
Yeah.
Why are athletes somehow more at risk and need hand-holding through the learning process? I don't like that one bit at all. Right? There's other parts of schools, like the other parts of the bill, schools would have to report revenues and expenses and all those sorts of things. They want more transparency and the bookkeeping, fine. They want you, whether you're on the team or injured or you get cut from the team, they want the scholarships to go all the way through graduation. Fine. Again, I think most of this is stuff that the schools should want to take care of in the best interest of the student. But I don't like it. As a matter of fact, I hate it when everyone acts like athletes are inherently dumber. It's insulting to say, oh, this person created so much value in their personal abilities that they have found someone willing to give them $500,000 for their services, right? Maybe it's as simple as lending their name to a commercial, to being in it, to signing autographs.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, they are less intelligent, or maybe it's not even an intelligence thing. They are more susceptible to bad decision-making than somebody else who crafted a different skill into one that the world has found valuable. All right, you created an app. You sold it to Google for $10 million. You must be smart enough to handle your money. Oh, you created a skill set on the basketball court that allowed Nike to give you $10 million. We are going to require you to prove that you have taken enough classes to manage your money. What? If a school wants to say every student on campus has to get together with a economics advisor to learn this stuff, fine.
I'm okay with schools providing it at the collegiate level because, you know what? Because athletes are more likely to earn more money than other students on campus. I'm okay if the school's like, hey, look, here how in this state you establish an LLC. Let's say you're from Georgia and you're playing football at Alabama, okay, here's how taxes work across state lines. That I'm okay with teaching athletes.
And let me be extremely clear on what I'm saying here. I am completely fine with providing it.
Yeah.
I want them, if a student wants, and this goes for athlete, like if an athlete goes to the coach and says, Coach, I'm making more money than I ever thought possible, right? My parents don't make this kind of money, so I can't go to them for advice or anyone in my family, whatever it is. My high school coach doesn't make this kind of money. Whoever I look to for advice normally doesn't have as many commas in their bank account as I do.
Mm-hmm. I
need some help. Provide it. Give them the financial literacy. Give them the tax courses. Give them get a personal investor, personal wealth advisor in and talking with them. I love that. I just don't like how there's the requirement put on them that isn't put on anyone else. As if to say, well, we know they can't handle it. Because there might be someone who, there might be an athlete who is a finance major. I played with a bunch of them. Right? There might be an athlete who is using his redshirt year to get a jump start on his MBA. And they might say, oh, you want me to take a class on how to pay taxes? soon as I'm done here, right, I'm going to go try for the NFL, try for the NBA, try for Major League Baseball, try for whatever. Maybe I'm in a sport that doesn't have a lucrative professional league. Whenever my playing career is over, I'm going to be on Wall Street in 20 minutes. What you need, but you have to guarantee that I know what's going on here. Until there's guardrails put in place for any and everyone that might make a decent amount of money on a college campus, I don't think there should be mandatory guardrails put in place for athletes.
I'm with you.
Because it's one of those things where it sounds like you're doing them like a solid. It sounds like you care about the athletes, but in actuality, you're kind of not trusting them. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I want you to be safe when you drive a car, so I'm never going to let you drive it when I'm not in it with you. Your learner's permit forever. When in actuality, it's like, no. If you trust them and if you think they are as good of drivers as anybody else, you give them the keys and you say, hey, have it back by 10:30, right? Like that's at some point you have to do it for the athletes. And I'll throw this one out there one more time. There also could be the situation where maybe athletes blow through their cash. Yeah. It happens. It's sad. I don't root for it. It doesn't mean it wasn't their right to blow through the cash that they earned.
It's their cash.
It is 100% of it.